Hi everyone, today I'm making my version of white chicken chili, and here I just have my simple ingredients. We have chicken broth, we have our peppers and onions, heavy whipping cream, we have our rotel with green chilies, our beans, and we have our seasonings, and of course we have our chicken. Now the wonderful thing about this dish is you can use leftover chicken, you can cook up some chicken, or you can just grab a rotisserie chicken and take the skin off and just break it apart. So let's get started. Now with my stove on a medium high heat, I'm going to add a little butter to my skillet. Now as it's melting down, I'm going to stir in my onions and my peppers. And I'm just doing this so I can just soften them up a little bit. We're just going to saute them a little bit before we put our chili in the oven. I am going to oven bake my chili today, but feel free to cook yours on top of the stove. So we're going to give this about 3 to 5 minutes. Just let it soften up some. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, since I want my chili to have a little bit of a thickness to it, I'm going to add a little flour. And how much flour you add is totally up to you. It just depends on how thick you like it. So I usually add about 2 tablespoons, 1 to 2 tablespoons. It just depends. You want to make sure your flour blends in with your vegetables, and then you can start stirring in your liquid. Now that's my chicken broth. I'm going to stir that in first and let it blend in with my flour. And you can kind of just see the thickness there. Next I'm going to stir in my heavy cream as well as my seasonings. Okay, you all, and next I'm going to stir in my green chilies. And really all you're doing is just stirring in your ingredients. Turn your heat down. I just had to turn mine down. Now white chicken chili is usually white if you don't have a lot of seasonings. So if you have a lot of seasonings like I do, it's not going to be exactly white, but of course it will be white compared to our normal beef chili. And now I'm going to start adding in my beans. I did not drain off the juices, so I'm just going to stir those in. It takes this eye a little minute before it actually calms down. So you just want to stir that in. Looks really, really good. And then the last thing we're going to add in, you can go ahead and turn the heat off at this point because we're going to pour it into our baking dish. But before we pour it in, we're going to add in our chicken. And today all I did was I actually had a rotisserie chicken that we didn't use. So I just pulled some of that meat off of there, and here we go. But this will work with any leftover chicken. Like I said, you can use a couple of chicken breasts, cut them up and just cook them in the skillet. Right before you do your vegetables, just cook your chicken. Then you can remove your meat and then saute your veggies and then just add it back in just like we did. So next we're going to pour this into our baking dish, or you can just keep this on top of the stove and cook it, but I'm going to bake mine. I have my oven set to 350, and this is really the time you want to taste your chili. You don't want to bake it before you taste it. You always want to taste your food, especially before you do something like start baking, because by the time it's done and you taste it, it's not too late to add flavor, but you kind of want to bake your food tasting the way you want it to taste. Does that make sense? You don't want it to be baking the way you don't want it to taste. So since I am not able to taste it, I'm going to have my daughter come taste it for me. And then we're going to put this on in the oven, honey. How does that look? Okay, Aaliyah tasted it and she said it was good. So I'm going to put it in the oven on 350, and I am going to cover it. And if you are one of my supporters, please make sure you have your notifications on, because I do post the measurements and ingredients on that, for you all. So All right, you all, it's going in, honey. So when I come back, I'll show you all the finished product. We're gonna garnish it with some sour cream, some cheese, and a few other things, and I'm gonna let them have at it. All right, you all. Simple and so quick and easy. Okay, you all, let's have a look. It's been an hour. It only takes about an hour. So let's have a look at our chili, honey. Oh, it looks great. It looks delicious. All right, well, I'm going to put some in a bowl for my daughter so that she can taste it for us. What do you all think? Again, that's 60 minutes on 350. All right, you all. So I added some fresh cilantro and some cheese and sour cream. Okay, Leah.
I'm excited, Michelle.
It does look good, doesn't it, honey? The girl.
This is so delicious.
All right, you also give it a try. Quick, easy meal. If you cook it on top of the stove, you only need to give it about 20 minutes or so to let it simmer. And again, in the oven, I gave it 60 minutes. All right, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and you have a wonderful, blessed day.